Alrighty, we are live. Thank you all for joining May's Moonwell Community Call. We have a special one that I'm quite excited about. Today we are joined by multiple members of the Gauntlet team, including two who are working on the Aera protocol. As some of y'all may know, the Gauntlet team has recently launched Aera, which is an autonomous treasury management protocol. It's a lot of big words. I'm not going to steal all their thunder, but to give y'all just a very brief primer, Moonwell Governance recently passed MIP 51, which established an Aera vault for Moonwell Apollo, Moonwell's deployment on Moon River. So we're super stoked to have Julius and Sean and Jake on the call from Gauntlet. We're going to ask them a bunch of questions, including some questions from the community, and have them demo the new dashboard, Aera dashboard, where we can view how the vault is doing. We also have Coolhorsegirl again on the call to give us the latest from Moonwell Governance. So without further ado, Madison or Coolhorsegirl, do you mind taking it away with the governance updates?
Hey guys, Coolhorsegirl here. I'll skip the camera today because my camera is actually broken right now, sadly. But I'll update on governance real quick. So a few governance proposals have passed. That's MIP 48, 49, 50, 52, and 51. So MIP 48 and 49 were rebalancing of Moon River token liquidity incentives. That came from Chucky and was executed without issue. MIP 50 and 52 were risk parameter adjustment proposals from Gauntlet, both executed now. I'm especially happy we were able to reach quorum on those based on the updated quorum from floating to static on Apollo. And then MIP 51 has established an Aera vault, and we have their team here, like Eli said. So Aera provides DAOs with a one-stop shop solution for managing treasury funds. The vote passed. And also notably, that was conducted with ranked choice voting. So the Moonwell community could choose a volatility tolerance of 5%, 10%, or 15%. What came out on top was 15%, the highest risk tolerance available. Interesting. And they're providing updates in a thread on the forum that's live. We also have two ongoing proposals available on the forum and now just recently on Snapshot. So the first is from In the Block. They completed phase one of their risk management tooling. That was passed in late February. So now 3 months later, they've applied for phase two of the grants, targeting 4 different deliverables. So perhaps the most notable addition is adding base support for risk metrics. They're asking for 30,000 and targeting a launch 30 days after the proposal passes for phase two. So that's on Snapshot now. So please make your voice heard before the vote ends in just a few days. And second, I put up, not live on Snapshot yet, but very shortly, a new grants proposal framework. The Moonwell grants proposal framework was really outdated, candidly. I spoke with Hugo of Aera Finance about his experience applying for a grant on Moonwell. He found it quite confusing and scattered, so we got a new one together. I submitted an updated version. It's on the forum right now, like I said, soon to be on Snapshot. The proposal serves as a sort of framework, set of guidelines to follow for anyone looking to receive grant funding, pretty simply. A lot of other protocols have very well laid out ones, and I think it's good that Moonwell reflects similarly. So it receives support from Hugo at Aera Finance, and hopefully our other grants proposers too. I'll plug that one more time. I really like the simplicity, but also the specificity of it. I think it'll really boost the Moonwell grants program. So that'll go on Snapshot soon. Like I said, just adding a few amendments real quick. And then on the horizon, kind of, one is we're live on Tally. So Tally is a decentralized governance sort of protocol where you can, it aggregates decentralized governance from across the ecosystem. So you can make a delegate profile in there, which is exciting to have. You can see who's delegated to who, how many votes each delegate has, and also plug yourself as a delegate. So I just made mine. It's on tally.xyz. If you go to Moonwell and then you just click delegates, you can make your delegate profile, which is really cool. Tally also notably, I have some connections there. They're looking to highlight DAOs that have like robust delegate profiles. So if we delegate and create delegate profiles, I think Tally will highlight us, and good press, never a bad thing. Then finally, yeah, Moonwell governance is popping off as usual. I'm excited about the quorums that are being hit now. I think we may look into further adjustments in the future. And yeah, awesome. Well, thanks guys so much. I'll bring Eli, you back up to the chat, and Jake from Gauntlet Network. So I'll see you guys next month.
Thank you so much, Madison. A lot going on in Moonwell governance, and you broke it down really quickly and eloquently. So thank you so much. And yeah, Jake, I wanted to start by bringing Jake onto the stage from Gauntlet Network, as he's a familiar figure to many of us that are aware of Moonwell governance, as he's a regular poster on the governance forums, regularly contributes to our Discord as well. So I wanted to bring Jake on just for a moment to introduce Gauntlet to those who may not be familiar, and then kind of segue us into the Aera Vault. So, hey, Jake, how's it going?
Hey, Eli. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. So yeah, for those who don't know, I'm Jake. I'm a protocol manager on the growth team at Gauntlet. Gauntlet is a financial modeling platform that offers risk management and applied research services to all the premier protocols in DeFi, such as Moonwell, Venus, Aave, and Compound. As you guys have probably seen my name pop up on the forums, I'm actively making proposals, updating the risk parameters of the protocol to make sure that both Artemis and Apollo can adequately defend against the turbulence of the crypto world. We're super excited to have our Aera team members on today, and really excited to kind of participate in the community. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jake. Yeah, Gauntlet have been just superb contributors to the Moonwell protocol, and we appreciate all the hard work that y'all put in. And there is one recent update I wanted to kind of highlight before we move on to Aera, and that is the new market alerts channel that Gauntlet has established in the Moonwell Discord. I know there's a similar market alerts channel for different protocols like Compound and Aave, and I just kind of wanted to take a second for you to potentially highlight what the purpose of this channel is, what community members can expect to see in this channel, and yeah, Jake, do you mind?
Yes, thanks, Eli. Yeah, thanks for the shout out. So we just recently created a market alerts channel in the Discord, as Eli mentioned. That's #marketalerts. What that channel does is it allows Gauntlet a direct channel to the community to update everybody as to how certain market risks open themselves up due to market events. So whether these are things like the USDC non-parity event or any various degree of exploits or hacks throughout the rest of the crypto ecosystem, Gauntlet is always monitoring and analyzing how these things could affect the Moonwell community. So I would very much recommend every Moonwell community member join that channel to get live updates as to how certain events might affect the risk profile of different accounts and positions on the Moonwell community and different protocols.
Awesome. Thank you for that rundown, Jake. And without further ado, let's just jump in. I know this MIP 51 to establish the Aera Vault was a success. The Aera Vault is up and funded, and people want to know, how's it going? They want to know more details. So without further ado, let's bring Julius and Sean from the Gauntlet team that are working on Aera, and Luke from the Lunar Labs team is going to do a brief Q&A with them. So I'll take it away, guys.
Thank you, Eli. Appreciate the introduction. My name is Luke. I'm a founding contributor to the Moonwell protocol. I'm really happy to be here and excited to share some more details with you from the Aera Finance team. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Sean and Julius. Could you maybe start by giving the community a brief introduction to Aera. What is Aera? How did it begin? And what is Aera trying to solve for?
Yeah, for sure. I'll kick us off. I'll just give a brief intro of myself as well, and then Julius can do the same. So nice to meet y'all. I'm Sean. I run product and design at Gauntlet. I work very closely with Jake on the risk side of things, but also more recently, Julius and I have been working very heavily on Aera from the Gauntlet side. It's been a great journey kind of bringing up to this initial launch, and we're really excited to have you all on board. And I'll cover that question in a sec. Luke, Julius, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Sean. I'm an engineering manager at Gauntlet. I've been working with the Aera team, and we've been really excited to get this product to market. And so it's been an exciting time. And my background's primarily in high frequency trading and kind of the TradFi space, but I've been fully in on the DeFi world, and now I'm, earning my keep there. So excited to be here.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So kind of going into your question, Luke. So just a bit of intro here. Aera is a DeFi protocol that provides autonomous risk-aware treasury management for DAOs. When we started Aera, the problem we saw was that many DAOs are sitting on large treasury, reserve, and insurance funds that are not being put to productive work, either to better hedge liabilities or simply just to not stagnate. When you combine this with the high overhead of DAO governance, a lot of these funds just end up as an afterthought instead of being used to help grow the protocol and ensure its longevity. We started Aera after seeing the nascency of DAO treasury management and how complex it was for DAOs to put their funds to work actively. So Aera solves this treasury management problem by providing an all-in-one treasury strategy designed to be automatic, data-driven, and transparent. DAOs only need to pick their goal, what assets they care about, and then the Aera protocol will take care of the rest. So very briefly, how does Aera work, right? So Aera spins up a multi-asset vault for each DAO it works with. After these vaults are initiated, vault guardians, this could be companies like Gauntlet or individuals with deep understanding of risk or treasury management, will start to submit weights on a regular basis to meet the objective set by the DAO. In Moonwell's case, this is volatility targeting. However, in future iterations, we'll be supporting a variety of different use cases outside of just volatility targeting, which I'm sure we'll cover later. So that's just a bit of background on Aera and what we've been building.
That's awesome. Thanks for that. So let's chat a little bit more about the Aera pilot program that's recently been approved through Moonwell Governance. Would you mind sharing with the community a brief summary regarding the Aera proposal, what the pilot program lifecycle consists of, and the Aera vault that has now been created and funded?
Yeah, for sure. So the Aera pilot with Moonwell is an agreement from the Moonwell DAO to the Aera Foundation to loan $250K of USDC to operate a volatility targeted vault, which, as y'all know, targets this 15% vault portfolio volatility. This pilot is open-ended and does not have a specific end time. However, it's structured such that the DAO can call back funds at any time via a snapshot vote. If the funds were also to drop below 200K for 7 consecutive days, the vault would automatically shut down and at least 200K would be returned to the Moonwell Apollo DAO. I'll come back to the created Aera vault in the demo when we go through the front end. It'll be fun to show you all in a live demo. But at a high level, we've created a vault on Polygon that houses the Moonwell Apollo reserve funds, the USDC multi funds. The Aera team can help facilitate deposits and withdrawals based on guidance from the DAO, specifically via snapshot votes, as to what actions should be taken. Now, in terms of what the DAO could do, could withdraw some partial amount, withdraw the full amount. You could pause the vault. You could deposit more funds into the vault if you wish, though depositing would require a full governance vote to actually move the funds around. Outside of existing actions that the DAO would take, the Aera vault is fully functional, and the Gauntlet team is acting as that vault guardian to set weights on the vault on a daily basis. Arbitrageurs are coming in automatically, and they're rebalancing it to the specified weights that Gauntlet is submitting against the vault. So that's really just a bit about the proposal lifecycle, and happy to dive into any details that make sense there.
Amazing. Yeah. I know there are some cross-chain governance challenges with it being on Polygon and governance being on Moonbeam for the Moonwell protocol. But really pleased that the Aera team has been able to help facilitate that, and that we're still able to communicate the community's desires through this snapshot voting mechanism. So as part of that Aera snapshot vote, the Moonwell community chose a volatility target of 15%. What does this mean? And could you elaborate in terms of on the benefits of a volatility targeted portfolio, specifically in the realm of DAO treasury and reserves management? Like, why is this important to DAOs?
Sure, I'll jump in and take that one. So over the past several years, Gauntlet has really spent its time becoming an expert in DeFi. And to do this, we've had to develop a deep understanding of volatility. And what we found was that since that was already part of our core model, we actually were pretty confident that we could act as a guardian for Aera for a volatility targeting product. And so what is volatility and why should I target it? Well, it's a measure of risk, and particularly market risk. And volatility targeting is a means of trying to manage that risk. And this is a common approach used in TradFi. And basically what it lets you do is you can align your portfolio volatility with your client's risk tolerance. And so targeting can prevent the portfolio from becoming too risky during periods of high volatility, and similarly too conservative during periods of low volatility. And why is this relevant for DAOs? Well, a DAO's treasury reserve, it's its lifeblood. It is typically its primary funding source, and it's essential for the long-term growth of a protocol. And despite this, it's been kind of notoriously difficult to manage this in a way that achieves a good balance of risk and reward. So for instance, you might consider like a blue chip crypto asset like ETH, tremendous amount of upside, right? But there's also a tremendous amount of risk associated with that and volatility. And so in order to manage this safely and effectively, a DAO would typically need to be constantly monitoring and rebalancing their portfolio based on the market conditions. And this is especially challenging for a DAO because of the governance process, right? The decentralization here kind of works against a DAO, and periods for voting and time locks kind of make it difficult to keep responsive with the markets. And so we felt that the Aera, the solution, being non-custodial and fully decentralized, was kind of a perfect fit for this, in that it would allow DAOs to express their treasury objectives in a much more straightforward manner. So basically, instead of saying, I want to buy 40 ETH, and then later on say, okay, well, now I want to sell 5 ETH, and then I want to buy another 20 ETH in response to market conditions, they can simply just say, I want to maintain a 15% risk exposure to ETH. And then Aera will take care of rebalancing that in response to market conditions. So put another way, you can say that the Aera Foundation has created this new product for DAOs, and it helps abstract away all of the implementation side of things, and it exposes only the thing that a DAO actually cares about, which is risk versus reward.
That's awesome. So it sounds to me like the way that the Aera Vault manages volatility is that you set a target, like in this case, it's 15% ETH in that portfolio. And then if the value of that portion of the portfolio rises above a certain threshold, some profit will be taken. If it drops below a certain threshold, then more will be added to that portion of the portfolio. So essentially, it sounds like once this is fully automated, which is the case with Aera, that the vault should be always, buying low and selling high is the general idea, right?
Yep. Sometimes we sell high and then buy low, but yeah, that's the general gist.
Yeah, awesome. So what is the role of Gauntlet as the initial guardian during the pilot program? And how do you foresee this role evolving as more guardians are added in the future?
Yeah, so I'm going to back out a bit and just kind of talk about success for Aera more generally. So what does Aera look like in its successful state? We believe this means that we created a thriving ecosystem of A, DAOs looking to have their assets safely managed by a transparent protocol, and B, guardians who are looking to share their expertise in treasury management with DAOs and eventually get paid for it. Unfortunately, it is a challenge. It's quite challenging to bootstrap this two-sided market, especially one that requires one side, namely the guardian side, to have a large amount of domain-specific expertise. So instead, what we focused on is getting off the ground and immediately providing value to the DAO side before onboarding more Guardians. And as Julius just mentioned, like given Gauntlet's history as a risk manager, we felt this would be a natural way to provide value to the DAO while also proving that the underlying concept of Aera was sound. So over time, we plan on adding in more Guardians. This can be both individuals or institutions with risk or treasury management expertise. We'll be working to decentralize that role of the Guardian, essentially have a system that aggregates weight submissions and allows for multiple Guardians to help support the same DAO vault. That's kind of in our future roadmap. So that's a bit about how we see this kind of Guardian role evolving over time. Right now it's Gauntlet, and then in the future we'll have additional Guardians, and then, in the even further future, decentralized Guardians.
Amazing. And I think one of the beautiful things about on-chain finance is that as these various Guardians, generate weights and submit them to the Aera vaults, you'll be able to track their potential performance over time and what their historical performance might be. And I think it's pretty awesome because it should create this meritocracy where the best Guardians with the most insight into market volatility will succeed and actually generate higher returns for the Aera vaults that they're helping to provide weights for, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we envision a both kind of reputation-based system as well as some form of parameter aggregation that allows us to fairly attribute different weight submissions to that vault. So that's something that we've been thinking about as we start to decentralize this role.
Amazing. So along those lines, what measures do you have in place to ensure transparency and trust? How can a DAO like Moonwell be sure that the decisions made by the Guardians are in their best interest?
That's a very important question and a good one. And we have actually a lot of safety measures in place. And I'm going to just start off with two that basically we think should be table stakes for anybody that is looking to manage a DAO's treasury. And the first one is that the vault should be non-custodial. We think strongly that if at any point in time a DAO wants its assets back, it should be able to take them back. And in our case, a snapshot vote would trigger a pause on the vault, and then you could reclaim all of the assets from the vault. Secondly, is all transactions should be happening on the chain, and it should be open, and you should be able to take your favorite block explorer and take a look and see what what's going on with your money. And if you don't dream in Hex, we also have created a dashboard where you can kind of see the visual kind of impact of Aera submitting its weights, as well as the current vault balance and the token balance and kind of what's going on there. So that's just kind of what we think should be in place for anybody. And then for Aera specifically, some things that we've implemented, we have additional safeguards that are embedded in the contract. So for instance, we constrain the maximum amount that weights are allowed to change. We constrain the amount of time that they are allowed to transpire. There's an emergency pause button that's basically always present. And as we kind of continue to grow and evolve this product, the vision that we see going forward is that we'll have a reward and slashing mechanism for Guardians. And as you mentioned, this will be based on their performance. But the really neat thing is that it'll be measured against an objective function. And that objective function will be specified by the DAO themselves. And that'll be in alignment with their own best interest. And so that the goal of this is to programmatically enforce alignment. And so in this initial pilot launch, we don't yet have that implemented, but we, along with everybody else, are able to monitor our own ability to target a portfolio's volatility on our dashboard. And then lastly, just as a way to further engender trust, we've provided Moonwell with a guaranteed minimum vault balance. So that's always kind of a nice thing to have, and it won't be available to everybody. So Moonwell kind of got premier access there. And lastly, if you're at all interested in kind of like some of the mechanisms that are in play that ensure alignment, we always welcome people to our white paper, which is on our website, Aera.finance.
I really appreciate how by bringing this objective function to the DAO and allowing the DAO to kind of vote on what that objective function should be, that we're informed of the risks that the Aera Vault is taking with the DAO funds. So I think that's I really appreciate that, and just wanted to let you know that from my perspective, that's amazing. It brings an amazing level of transparency and trust to how those funds are being invested and managed. So really appreciate that. And then, just to wrap up here, final question: will there be an opportunity for the Moonwell community to increase the amount of funds allocated to the Aera Vault, or select a new volatility target in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Fairly quick answer here. So, Moonwell community can do this to either action, like select a new volatility target or allocate more funds just by a snapshot vote. So if the community feels like 15% is now too risky, we could, all we would need to do is issue a new snapshot vote saying, hey, we want to adjust it down to 10%, and then we can modify that on the vault side. In terms of depositing new funds, same story, except we would also just need to go to a governance vote to actually, get funds from the reserves and then actually transfer them and onboard them into the Aera Vault. But that is also fairly straightforward as in MIT 51, and we could follow the same process there.
Excellent.
If there is community interest, please let me know. Happy to chat more about that.
Yeah, I think this has been a really successful pilot. Just in the brief time we've been experimenting as a community, and I think the community will most likely want to increase the funds as the pilot continues to show signs of success. So, yeah, thank you both so much for answering all of our questions. And I know, Sean, you're going to give a brief demo, so I'll turn it over to you for the demo. And thanks again to the Moonwell community for joining the call. And it's been my pleasure to chat with Sean and Julius today.
Thanks,
Luke.
Luke.
Both.
Yeah, I appreciate Luke. These questions have been awesome. So thanks a ton for also giving us the opportunity to chat. All right, folks. I hope this is a fun section for everyone, but we're going to go into the Aera Vault UI. So this, as I posted in the forums, this is available at app.aera.finance. It's a fairly simple dashboard to start. We're really just focusing on the key top-line metrics that the DAO should care about. First chart that you're going to see on this page is this total value of the vault. This is just the real-time value of the funds in the vault based on Oracle prices. And then this chart just simply describes the distribution of those assets. So, right now you've got about 176K worth of USDC and then 75K worth of wrapped ETH. Now, bear in mind, this vault is on Polygon, and so this is not USDC multi, it's just normal USDC. Below that, we really wanted to give the community an understanding of the impact that Aera specifically is driving. And so this first chart is really just showing Aera relative to other comparables. So the comparables that we thought were relevant here would be a full holding of USDC and a full holding of wrapped ETH. So you can see that, over time, this has fluctuated. USDC, as you expect, has stayed flat, while wrapped ETH has gone up and down with prices, and Aera has equally tracked a bit more upwards because wrapped ETH, has increased in price relative to when we started. Next is this realized volatility over time. We talk about this 15% vol target. That's that pink line here. This black line is just what the actual realized past 15-day volatility of the vault has been. So you can see right now it's about 8.45%. We're working to push that up by adding in more ETH to manage that past that historical volatility. And then, of course, you can just see what is the volatility of ETH as well. So that's much higher at 30%. The next section is more on the implementation details. This is what we call execution details. So, we mentioned arbitrage. I mentioned it before. Arbitrageurs are the ones who are actually executing the weight updates that Aera submits against the vault, or the Gauntlet team submits against the vault. In order to do that, there's a small profit opportunity, which you can see here, of when they swap in and out to match these vault weights, they earn about $7 or $4 on a daily basis. This is a really important function for the ongoing Aera Vault execution. It's very similar to how Uniswap pools rebalance. Under the hood, we use Balancer. And so this is specific to Balancer, but the arbitrage concept here is very much the same. Lastly, we have what we call the transaction section. This is really just showing all of the various weight updates that Gauntlet is providing. You can see that in the table below. And you can also just see the distribution in percentage terms of how much USDC is there, how much wrapped ETH is there. When we started, we were about at 71%, 29%, And over time, we've been reducing our USDC exposure while increasing the wrapped ETH exposure. And that goes right up to this volatility chart, which is that, hey, our target volatility, we have not hit this 15% target volatility. And so we want to expose ourselves more into ETH. This table is just, each of those weight updates. It has links to Polygon scan, so you can see the actual transactions against the vault from our Guardian, and then just similarly timestamps around that. We're going to be updating this front end. We have some new features actually coming out in the next couple of days. So, we're very open to community feedback. We would love to hear if there's anything useful, not useful. Help us improve this so that, we can make this the most useful resource for the community. And feel free to just reach out to me on the forums. I have a couple of forum threads, or you can just email me at sean@gauntlet.network. That is it for the demo. Oh, did I stop screen sharing? I will flip it back to Eli, I think. Yes.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you, Julius. And can't wait to bookmark the Aera Dash and play around with it myself and keep an eye on how the funds are looking over the coming weeks and months ahead. Thank you, Luke, as well, for those insightful questions. And hope that was really enlightening for the Moonwell community. It's really, really cool to be a part of this pilot program and see how Aera evolves over the coming months. So thank you all so much. We are going to transition to a few community questions and then wrap things up here. So we had some great questions in this week, and we're going to start with one from Max, who goes by the Discord tag MXCT7, pretty regular poster to the Discord. And he asks, along with the growth of the project and the growth of the number of the project's audience, will the site be translated into other languages besides English? At the moment, some projects already allow to select user-friendly language when using their application. Max, this is a fantastic question. As everyone's aware, English is the most commonly used language, not only in Web3, but in Web2 as well, with roughly 60% of existing websites being in English. And the vast majority of crypto dApps default to English as well. The fact of the matter is, though, that there's roughly 6.5 billion non-English speakers in the world, and many of whom could benefit greatly from crypto and from DeFi apps like Moonwell. Crypto is a global phenomenon, and Moonwell should reflect that. And with that sentiment in mind, the Moonwell community has already established multiple language roles in Discord, or language chats in Discord, 12 to be exact. So please come to our Discord. We very likely will have a language chat for you. There's also 7 unique Moonwell Twitter accounts in alternate languages from Portuguese, Chinese, Russian, Ukrainian, Spanish, and we would like to, and Thai, and we'd like to keep growing these. So if you do speak a language other than English, you would like to see more support for that language, please come to our Discord, let that be known. And as far as translating the website, I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea. Max, I would encourage you or anyone else to post that idea to the governance forum, post it in Discord for more visibility. But I think that's, again, crypto is global. The Moonwell community wants Moonwell to be global. I think that's just an absolutely fantastic idea. For question 2, we have Eastwood33 asks, does Moonwell have plans to become an extendable platform that others can build their projects on top of? So interestingly enough, Moonwell already is, people can already build on top of Moonwell. They do this through the use of, or the integration with Moonwell's M tokens. And just a very brief primer. So you may not notice this unless you actually look at your wallet balance, but basically M tokens are representations of balances supplied to the protocol. So anything from minting, redeeming, borrowing, repaying a borrow, liquidating a borrow, all these actions utilize M tokens. And what's really interesting though is that is the way that M tokens accumulate interest. So they increase the amount of the underlying asset that they can be converted to over time. So for example, you supply 1,000 USDC to Moonwell, and in your wallet, you'll receive roughly 45,000 of these M USDC tokens or M tokens. These kind of act as a receipt of sorts, showing your supplied balance. But again, they also accrue interest over time. The actual M token amount in your wallet won't increase, but the amount of the underlying asset, in this case, USDC, that you could redeem for does increase over time. So with all that out of the way, it is possible, and it's already happening for other projects to integrate with Moonwell's M tokens. And a very recent example is the Quota dApp on Moonbeam supports auto wrapping of collateral into Moonwell's M tokens. And that allows for users on Quota to earn interest on their collateral while borrowing against it, which is pretty neat. So any developer in the ecosystem can integrate with Moonwell M tokens and use them as these DeFi or money Legos to offer an interest-bearing yield to users of their protocol. Another hypothetical example could be, say you're building a new Web3 game built on Moonbeam. Users could stake their assets and then use the collateral by integrating with the M token. And now all users playing this new game can earn a yield on their staked assets, which is pretty neat. And then for the final question, this was asked by multiple users, is just Windbase. So I would like to point out that the Base team has put out a new article on their mirror. So if you Google Base mirror, or if you go to base.org and click the blog button, it'll take you to their mirror. And they have a recent article called Path to Mainnet. And in this article, they list 5 things that need to be completed before Base mainnet arrives. The first is successful Regolith hard fork completed in testnet. That's complete. Number 2 is successful infrastructure review with OP Labs team, Optimism Labs. That's complete. The third is Optimism's successful upgrade of Bedrock. That is dated to happen on June the 6th. And as Base is an OP chain like Optimism, and that is a prerequisite for Base's mainnet launch. And then the last 2 are successful completion of internal and external audits with no critical severity issues. And then finally, demonstrated testnet stability. So I would encourage anyone interested to go check out that Path to Mainnet article. And then obviously keep your eyes peeled on Base's socials as they release more information. It is very exciting times. And then I do want to also shout out, there's been no news of a Base token nor airdrop. If you look up Base on Twitter, you're sure to see news around a token or an airdrop. We also had questions regarding an airdrop. There is no airdrop. So I did want to put out that warning. And then before we wrap up here, I just want to encourage everyone interested to visit forum.moonwell.fi, our governance forum. We have some active discussions regarding, as Coolhorsegirl mentioned, Into the Blocks phase 2 of their grant proposal to continue to build out their risk management dashboard. And then also Coolhorsegirl's grant proposal framework is also posted to the forum. Be great to have more community members read through that, give their feedback, and help Coolhorsegirl integrate that feedback into the proposal before it goes live for voting. Then also, if you haven't already, swing by the Moonwell Discord at discord.gg/moonwell-fi. If you go to moonwell.fi, scroll to the bottom, you'll see a Discord icon as well. Our Discord is the main hub for everything Moonwell. We have just a few updates on our Discord. We have two new channels besides the market alerts channel that we discussed with Jake. We also have a market feed and a governance feed channel. The market feed channel has a new market bot that will show every single mint or supply, borrow, liquidation, etc. Any market event that's happening on Moonwell will be shown in this market feed, which is pretty neat. And then there's also a new governance feed channel with a governance bot that will show every governance proposal that's submitted, every on-chain governance proposal that's executed, every vote. So these are both great avenues to keep your eyes on the very latest of what's happening on Moonwell. We also have an introduce yourself channel. So if you're new or if you've been lurking for a while and just want to introduce yourself to the community, maybe you want to take a more active role in Moonwell governance or in the community, introduce yourself is a great way. It's a great place to do just that and introduce yourself to the community. And then also one last brief shout out. Every Friday we have at 1900 UTC in the Discord, we have Moonwell Game Night run by a community member named Fachucky. Voting is currently live in the hashtag gaming channel for what we'll play this week. But stop by, we'd love to see you. Steam keys are given away every week to winners, and it's just a great opportunity to get to know your fellow community members and have a little fun at the same time. And before we sign out, I have dropped the link in the Zoom chat as well as the Discord and Telegram chats to mint the community call NFT for today. And yeah, finally, just thank you to everyone voting on governance proposals, to everyone hanging out with us in the Discord, to, of course, our wonderful guests today, Sean, Julius, and Jake from the Gauntlet team, and Luke Youngblood. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next month.